Вот, рада приветствовать всех еще раз. Желаю всем плодотворной работы. Я очень надеюсь на то, что значит, встреча с Самантой и вот эта вот коммуникация, взаимодействие не только ограничится сегодняшним днем. Сегодня мы получим значит, базовую информацию, скажем так, да, но и очень надеемся на дальнейшее плодотворное сотрудничество вот, на пути к формированию этой системы у нас. Спасибо всем. Тогда, пожалуйста, я передаю слово Саманте.
Thank you, Nazira. Good morning, everyone. And yeah, I see some new faces compared to yesterday. So maybe who is new, if she or he can quickly introduce, just that I know who are the new faces. Yeah.
We can introduce all.
All again.
Yeah, all again. Она танıştırma, birbirimizi detaylı tanıştırıp getireyim var. Көпчүлүк уже болгонбуз, бирок ошентсе дагы жаңы адамдар үчүн тааныштыралы. Менин атым Назира Касиева, мен ФАО уюмунун ушул органика жолго салуу долбоорунун координаторумун.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые коллеги. Я с Кыргызстана, Назира.
Здравствуйте, я тоже с стандарта, Калиева Аспира, начальник управления сертификации Бишкекского центра испытаний.
Саламатсыздар, менин атым Алмаз, фамилиям Набеков. Биз тамак коопсуздугу боюнча жалпаз, бүгүнкү күндө биз ойлонубузда ошон үчүн сол 765 талаптар боюнча толук баалууга келдик.
И департамент органики.
Микрофон.
Turn it on, please. Включите микрофон.
Коллеги, просьба, забыла сказать, микрофон дочерёк баарында, себебинде у нас переводчики сидят, и они не слышат нас без микрофона. Поэтому просьба говорить с микрофоном.
Саламатсыздар, мен Нурдинова Ажпарту Турсуналиевна, Кайрачка өнөр жайы жана органикалык айчарба департаментинде бөлүм
Саманта Кудретова, ОСО «Органика», исполнительный директор. Контроль и сертификация органических продукций.
Приветствую всех. Мирлан Жолдашбаев, ассоциация Organic Holding KG. Если Трамп говорит «Let's make America great again», мы говорим «Давайте сделаем Кыргызстан органической страной к 30-му году».
Саламатсыздар, Органикага улуттук статистика комитети айыл чарба бөлүмүнүн башчысы Гүлзейнеп Турдубековна.
Доброе утро. Департамент органического сельского хозяйства, Министерство сельского хозяйства, Таран Мильян Павловна.
Саргон Шутан, федератор органического движения и органик форум.
Утмантам, Гүлзат Абдайбердиева, биосервис коомдук фонду, органикалык ай чарбасы жана анын сертификациясын фасилитациялоо боюнча кеңештирүүчү уюм. Рахмат.
Всем доброго дня. Я Эльчиева Мадина. В настоящее время являюсь независимым консультантом.
По сертификации.
Ну да.
Okay, so thanks a lot. And yeah, for who was not present during the previous 2 days, I'm Samanta Rozi. I'm an expert in organic agriculture and certification systems. Since more than 20 years, and I was working for an Italian certification body as responsible of the system. And then since 2 years I changed and I mostly collaborate with accreditation bodies. So this morning is quite intensive. We will talk first about ISO 17065, so maybe more than 1 hour. and then we will talk about group certification according to the EU regulation. So let's start with ISO 70065, and whenever you have questions, just feel free to interrupt me. And I understood there's... Oh, you know, because... But if I go that side, I don't see my screen. I can stay here if you want. Like this, it's okay?
Нормально, да?
It's okay. Yes, yes.
Все понятно.
So from what I understood, there's no one from Kyrgyz accreditation body, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, otherwise, colleagues are very welcome to add something.
Вот Мадина, она много лет там проработала.
Not anymore, right? She was.
Я работала. Да, раньше я работала, но в настоящее время я сейчас работаю. Да, раньше я работала на производстве.
Okay, so what is ISO 70065? It sets the rules, the requirement for conformity assessment bodies, so for certification bodies. And today I have contextualized it for organic certification. Okay, so the ISO norm is general. But today we talk about certification bodies in organic agriculture. I have tried to combine ISO with what is requested by the law, the Kyrgyz law in organic agriculture. So you will find everything in your slides. So ISO reference and also Kyrgyz law reference. The slides that you have available in Russian, they are the complete material, but as it takes days to make a training about ISO, I have hidden slides and I have done some shortcuts. So here it's just a quick overview of the main requirements. So first of all, what is ISO and why is it needed? Okay. So,
I have a question.
you speak English, how nice.
I do that.
Yeah. So you will speak in English,
I
right?
may.
Yes, I'm happy.
But I did my master's in Aachen as well.
Perfect.
That's right. I just wondered, could you please elaborate on the difference between ISO 7165 and ISO 7121?
Okay, so 65 is, just in easy words, it's for certification bodies, while 21 is for inspection bodies. So it's for companies that do inspections. They don't issue any certificate. So the ISO standards, they have been, set up by two key organizations, ISO and IEC. And those standards have been set up in order, to provide common and general rules to harmonize the system. And also, one of the key objectives is to ensure that products and services are safe, reliable, and have a high quality. This is in general, the objective of the ISO norms. And they are internationally accepted. And they describe how to do something, how to do a process in the best way. So best practices, let's say. So they guarantee, okay, the quality of your services. That's just general introduction. So before going on, does any one of you know which is the difference among different types of assessments, of conformity assessments? There are the first party assessment, second party assessment, and third party assessment. I'm sure that some of you knows the difference. Any idea? Okay. So, first party conformity assessment, it's a self-declaration. You are a farmer, you are a processing company that follows some rules, some standards, might even be the organic standard, and you yourself, you declare that your products comply with a certain requirement. So it's a self-declaration, it's you that are just making a declaration. So no one has checked it, it's yourself, okay? So of course, something like this, has kind of a low level of trustworthiness. Because it's just you that have declared something. The second party conformity assessment, it's when someone else came to you as operator to verify that the products that you provide, the services that you provide, comply with certain requirements. So usually those second party assessments are done by the purchasing company towards their suppliers. So purchasing companies often do those second party audits. So they go to the suppliers to verify, to check that the suppliers follow some rules. But it's still something done, let's say, at the private level. There is still no certification body involved in this. And then there is the third-party conformity assessment, and the word itself says something. It's third party, so it's someone else, someone outside, usually a certification body, that verifies that you as company operator follows the rule and also issues a certificate. The certificate is an attestation which has a different value from a self-declaration. So, for example, I guess you are all consumers of organic products, or I hope so. Do you think that it makes a difference when you buy from an operator that has a certificate provided by a certification body, or from an operator that just tells you, wow, my products are organic, without anyone that has verified this? So it has a different level of reliability. Of course, if you know the farmer, it's different. You trust him. It's a matter of trust. So this is one of the key differences. Organic, in order to sell organic products, labeled organic products on the market, you need to be certified by a conformity assessment body, a certification body, so we are talking about third-party certification. So the certificate is issued and has a specific value. Is the difference clear? First party, second party, and third party? Okay, good. Because from now on we talk about only third party, okay? So it's actually everything based on risk, on the perceived risk. So the lower is the might be that you trust more, you trust even a self-declaration. So a first party assessment. While if the risk is higher, of course, you trust more a third-party assessment. Okay. So why is this ISO 70065 accreditation needed? Because in your law about organic agriculture, it's written that only accredited certification bodies can be registered, okay, are recognized by the ministry as such. And accreditation bodies, they confirm the competence of those certification bodies through ISO 70065. So it's the accreditation body that verifies that the certification bodies follow and implement ISO 70065. That tells the rules how a certification body has to work. So you see, whenever there's something in green, it refers to the local legislation. Okay? Otherwise, it's in blue. So in Kyrgyzstan, as we said yesterday, you have Kyrgyz Center of Accreditation. Okay, so they will provide you with the accreditation certificate if you are successful. And it's very important to highlight also that KCA is a member of International Accreditation Forum. So it means that at an international level, the accreditation issued by KCA is recognized. So it's accepted by also by you, by USA, and so on. Here it's just a figure which I like, that informs you about all the actors that are involved in this system. So we have on top ISO that has set up the standard, then the International Accreditation Forum, where not all the accreditation bodies, but most of them are members. You have the accreditation bodies, you have the certification bodies, and you have the certified operators. So it's really a pyramid, the system. So how does the accreditation process work? So a certification body who wants to get accredited, what does he need to do? Actually, it's the same process that we have seen yesterday for operators that want to be certified by a certification body. It's only at a different level. Now we are talking about a certification body, but the process looks similar because first step, it's an application. So the certification body has to submit the application to the accreditation body. The accreditation body reviews the application. If the application is accepted, carries out the assessment, which is office assessment, and might also be witness audits. Witness audits are when staff from the accreditation body accompany the inspectors from the control body to verify how they work. Then the accreditation body, based on this activity, takes a decision. Do we accredit or not the certification body? And let's say the certificate, the accreditation certificate, the maximum validity is 5 years, but in some countries, accreditation bodies, they have reduced it to 4 years or to 3 years, so this depends from the accreditation body. And during the period of validity of the certificate, the accreditation body does the annual assessments. So every year they check how the control body works. English or Kyrgyz?
У меня вопрос. Тут разница между оценкой органа сертификации в цикле аккредитации. Что это означает и чем отличается от завершающей оценки? Не совсем понятно.
Нет, сертификат, который вам выдали, он будет действовать 5 лет или 4 года. Внутри этих 5 лет вас ежегодно будут проверять на соответствие выполнению требований 17.060.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Maybe due to the translation, I'm...
What is the difference between
Okay, thanks. Okay, so this is the first assessment. Okay, you have the application, the review, and here the assessment, the first. And then once the CB has been accredited, during the cycle, they have to do the assessments again. Every year, the annual surveillance in the cycle.
Саманта, я так понимаю, что вот в области применения, да, когда подается заявка, на примере, да, смотрите, я орган по сертификации, я хочу пройти аккредитацию по 17065. Подала заявку и пишу в область применения те стандарты по органическому сельскому хозяйству. Допустим, это там будет 10 или 5 стандартов. Так?
Можете повторить вопрос?
Хорошо. Это я, как я понимаю, да, по органическому сельскому хозяйству мы сейчас говорим об органике. Так? Специалисты органа по сертификации, они же должны пройти и аккредитацию по органическим стандартам. Вот это куда входит?
The question is as follows.
Мне кажется, перевод, они так сложно переводят.
I don't know if I got the questions, because if during translation you don't use the proper words, it might be misleading.
Хорошо.
But maybe the answer is later on, in the next slides. Let's wait a little bit.
Хорошо. Одну секундочку тогда. Проверяют ли по органическим стандартам центр аккредитации, когда проходит вот эта аккредитация? Это дальше будет?
Yes. I mean, it's ISO 70065, it comes later on, plus the specific scheme. Because certification bodies, they can certify it according to organic, they can certify it according to something else. So it's ISO plus the specific standard or scheme or regulation. It's later on.
Я так поняла, что
При
здесь не совсем
аккредитации.
идут органы по сертификации. Здесь идет разговор о Кыргызском центре аккредитации. То есть он аккредитует эти органы по сертификации. А сам вот этот вот КЦА, он каким образом может аккредитовать органы по сертификации? Он должен иметь какую-то дополнительную регистрацию или что?
Он оказывается, да, является международным членом вот этого
Международный, но до этого не было.
Центр аккредитации – это национальный орган по аккредитации.
Но они-то тоже должны иметь свои
Они, да,
специалистов, которые
они
знают организм.
Да,
Sorry, are you talking about... Коллеги просят... Дело в том, что раз они сидят там, возможно, да, та международный форум расскажет, да, или спустит эти. Сейчас просят пройти дальше, потому что, может быть, действительно ответы будут попозже. В смысле, ответы будут в следующих слайдах. Давайте тогда довершим. Да?
И записываем свои вопросы.
So, here, maybe here there is the answer to your question. So, the accreditation body, when verifying the control body, the certification body, they have to verify two things. So, one is that the certification body complies with ISO 70065, which is the standard that the certification body has to follow, but it tells you general rules, not specific for organic, okay? Plus the specific compliance with the standard, the regulation, the law. So in that case, it's for organic in Kyrgyzstan, the accreditation body, in addition to ISO 70065, has to verify that the certification body fulfills the rules that are mentioned in the organic law of Kyrgyzstan and all the draft regulations that then will soon be approved. Okay, so it's two things. And in the accreditation certificate, you will have it mentioned. Okay, so it's ISO 70065, and then the specific law or regulation, if it's organic, if it's global gap, if it's something else.
At this stage, should the food chain category defined? I mean, according to ISO 22003, we have food chain categories A1, A2, C1, C2, depending on the animal or plant origin. For organic, there is no need to specify.
I mean, for organic, you have the production, you have processing, you have import, you have export. Depends from what is set up here in the regulation, and might be that certification bodies, they are accredited only to verify farmers, to verify production, because they have the resources and the competence only for production. There might be a certification body that requests accreditation for everything, for production, for processing, for import. So it depends which are the sectors identified by the law.
And it doesn't matter the origin of the food, right? It's going to be the same for animal, for plant origin, right?
Okay, so if this is clear, we just move on. I will just, let's say, try on in easy words to explain you. ISO 17065, and actually, as it's huge and it takes a lot of time, I will skip some parts. So the last part, number 8, chapter 8, which is about management system, you will have it in the slide, but I mean, in 1 hour it's impossible to talk also about this. Okay, so and for the rest, I have picked up something. So those are the chapters of the law, of the standard. Sorry. So you, of course, the scope. Then you have the normative reference. You have terms and definitions. Then general requirements, of course, for the certification bodies. Structural requirements, resources requirements, and processor requirements. So all what the certification body has to do. And actually the standard is very clear. It's like crystal clear. And whenever you read it again and again, it's always clearer. And it tells you a lot of things. So the scope of these standards, okay, it provides you requirements for competence. We already said the previous days, that's a keyword, competence of the staff of the certification body. And requirements to carry out operations, activities in a consistent way. And of course, a third party body, certification body, he needs to act in an impartial way, in an objective way. That's, again, critical and a key word, impartiality. So it means that the control body cannot make any difference among the operators that he is certifying. He has to treat them all the same way. He needs to be impartial. We will see it also later on. So here, some definitions that I have picked up because I mean, they are interesting. First of all, the clients. Clients that for a control bodies are the operators. Okay, and the clients are the one who ensure that the regulation and the law, in that case about organic, is fulfilled, is implemented. And they are looking to get a certificate. So for the certification body, the clients are the operators. Okay. Another word which is, this is really critical, it's consultancy. So the ISO standard exactly specifies that a certification body cannot do any consultancy activity. So this is very important. So if you are an organization, you have to decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to certify or do you want to provide consultancy? Because you cannot do two things at the same time. But you risk your accreditation if you also do consultancy, because it's forbidden. Because if you also do consultancy towards your operator, you are not impartial anymore. You are not a third party anymore. Because you are telling them what to do. And then you also have to issue the certificate. No, it doesn't work like this. Okay. And consultancy in the standard is also related not only to the general activity of the certification body, but also to activities done by the staff. Might be that you have some inspectors that also does consultancy activity. So in that case, it's allowed if the single person does also consultancy activity, but it needs to be declared to the certification body, so that that inspector doesn't go to inspect the operator to whom he provides consultancy. So it's a risk. We will come to this topic also later on. But remember, at the general level of the CB, it's forbidden to do consultancy. Then, which is the scope of the certification? Of course, it's what the certification bodies do. So it's product, process, the certification scheme, the requirements. In that case, we are talking about all the law and the regulations about organic. Okay? And in that case, the scope of certification is providing the service of certifying. The other keyword, together with consultancy, is impartiality. We said it before. So the control body needs to be impartial, needs to be objective. So this is related to conflicts of interests. Okay? So in general, there should not be conflict of interests. If there are, they need to be managed. As I said before, if the inspector does also consultancy activity, he needs to declare this in his conflict of interest declaration, so that the certification body knows this and doesn't send that inspector to verify the operator with whom he has the consultancy relationship.
Получается, в одном органе по аккредитации могут быть специалисты, которые консультируют заявителей, обратившихся в этот орган, и в этом же органе тогда другие специалисты, которые будут проводить вот именно процесс аккредитации. Правильно вы поняли?
Консультирование нельзя проводить.
So, I just have to ask her something about translation. Sorry. Is it accreditation bodies or
She said accreditation.
Okay. No, so, just to clarify, this norm doesn't apply to accreditation body. This norm applies to certification bodies. Because you start the sentence with accreditation body. No, that's for certification bodies. Okay? So anyhow, if the certification body has some inspectors, that do consultancy activity, it's allowed, if the certification body allows it, of course, but he has to know. He needs to have this information, so that that inspector doesn't inspect the operators that he's consulting, but it's someone else that goes there to do the inspection and someone else who takes the decision. So everything needs to be declared because it has to be managed.
Спасибо. Но вот здесь, наверное, получается таким образом. Тот, кто обращается, он как бы понятия не имеет. И тогда тот, кто принимает документы, он как бы или может ему сказать, какие документы нужны и так далее. То есть это будет консультация. То есть в самом органе, как в структуре, может быть разделение. Те, кто консультирует, уже все знают, что они только консультацией занимаются. И те, кто сертифицирует, они только сертификацией.
No, it's not possible. Yes, I reply and then you can add. So I fully understand your question. Let's say you are right. And it's very important that the certification body provides on the web page which are the rules. So how the operators can be certified. So the procedures, the information, they need to be, according to ISO, on the, let's say, publicly available, which usually is on the web page of the certification body. The certification body can provide information, but cannot do consultancy. Of course, it's borderline, okay? But if the operator asks which are the documents that I have to fulfill, to apply, of course, the certification body has to answer, has to provide the documents. But he cannot, the certification body cannot assist, cannot tell the operator how to fill the documents, what he has to write in. That's consultancy. Then, I mean, I shouldn't say this. Of course, it happens, okay? But because the border between information and consultancy, it's gray. Gonzalo, do you want to add something? Because you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, chapter number 4, okay, general requirements. Those are, as you can see, general requirements that apply to the certification bodies. Doesn't matter what they are certifying, okay? Of course, here we are talking about organic, but those requirements apply to all the certification bodies. So, the certification bodies, they need to be legal entities. They need to exist officially. And the requirement is also specified in your organic law. In the definition, certification body needs to be a legal entity. Okay? This is very general and easy. Then, the certification body needs to have an agreement, a contract with the operators. It's compulsory, okay? And the contract needs to be legally enforceable, so it needs to be a contract which is legally valid. Okay? And also this requirement is in your law, we will see it later on. And ISO exactly specifies what needs to be included in the contract. As a minimum, then of course you can add other things, but as a minimum, there are some elements, as for example, the operator, he has to fulfill with the requirements. The operator, which here is the client, of course needs to collaborate, okay, needs to let you enter into his premises, he needs to provide you with all the information, with all the documents. He needs to collaborate also during investigations. So if the control body needs to do an investigation, as we said the first day, I mean, the operator cannot say, no, I don't let you enter in, I don't provide you those documents. Okay? So this needs to be clearly written in the contract. And that's why it's important that the contract has a legal validity. We have also our lawyer here, so I mean, it's really important. And also, it needs to be included that the operator makes only, let's say, references to what is certified which are consistent with the certification. So just to make an easy example, if the certified operator is a farmer who is certified for, I don't know, strawberries, okay? So, and he has a certificate only for farming and for strawberries. That operator also, in addition, produces strawberry jams. He cannot sell those strawberry jams as organic because he's certified for organic only for the farming activity, not for the processing. So the operator, he has to make the certification claims only for the scope that he's certified, and this needs to be in the contract. The declaration, they need to be consistent. Okay? If he's certified for strawberries as organic, he cannot sell on the market organic walnuts because they are not in the certificate. Then something else which is important. Yes, if the operator makes some changes in his activity, he needs to inform the certification body. So ISO says also without delay. So if a change happens today, for example, the operator has added new fields and he manages them as organic, he cannot inform the certification body in 6 months. So it's without delay of any type of changes. The fact that the certification body needs to have a contract with the operators, it's in your organic law. It's specifically mentioned. Okay. Then, the other chapter is related to the use of the certificates, the use of the marks. So it means also the use of the logo. Here, as far as I know, there is still no organic logo because this will be defined.
Yes.
Ah, you have it. Ah, I thought it still should have been defined. You have it. Ah, good. Okay. I was not aware. So this requirement says that the certification body has to verify that the use of the logo for the certified product is done in the proper way by the operators. Okay? And in case of incorrect references, of course, the certification bodies, they have to take actions. That's here, this organic logo. Nice. Great. Okay. Is this clear so far? I mean, it's quite logic. Okay. And your organic law also talks, of course, about labeling, and if there are some violation, means not correct use of the labels, then actions should be taken, and the control body has to inform the authorized state body if there is any kind of violation in the use of the logo, also of problems in labeling. Then another general aspect is impartiality. As I told you, impartiality comes again and again because it's very, very important. And again, it says that the certification activities, they should be taken in an impartial way. They should be impartially carried out. And is the certification body who is responsible for carrying out the activities in an impartial way. So they are responsible also for the activities done by their own staff. So they have to, it's the certification body that has to guarantee that all the staff acts in an impartial way. You cannot say, okay, to that operator, because somehow I know him, I just give him the certificate without having done an inspection. Because I know him, he works properly well. No. Okay, so the rules have to be applied in the same way to all the operators. And if there are some risks that might affect impartiality, because of course there are risks, they need to be analyzed, and let's say mitigation measures need to be implemented in order to reduce the risk, to manage the risk. Because anyhow, the certification body needs to be impartial. So as we said before, one risk is the fact that the inspector does also consultancy activity. That's a risk. So the risk needs to be analyzed and managed. The management of this risk as a certification body is okay. We cannot send that inspector to inspect the operators to whom he does consultancy. That's just one of all the risks that might affect the certification body. So the risks that need to be analyzed by the certification body, they are related to the activities that they do. For example, at the starting point, the certification body, because of his also still have some consultancy activity, then that's a big risk. It's not possible to do also this. So they have to manage this risk. Okay, we don't do any consultancy activity anymore. And they have to analyze the relationships that they have as certification bodies, but also the relationship of the staff. Because, again, might be that you can have a friendship relationship, economic relationship, a racial relationship. An operator can be maybe the father of one inspector or of one certifier. That's a risk, again. Okay, so the key message is that all the risks, they need to be identified and managed. And the management, the top management of the certification body, he needs to be committed to impartiality. So usually there is an impartiality signed by the top management. And you see the requirement 426, it exactly says that the certification body should not do a lot of things. Among them, offer or provide consultancy to its clients. Body, they cannot be linked, they cannot make any promotion activity to companies who provide consultancy. Okay, so they cannot tell, cannot write on their webpage, if you need help, just ask help from that consultant.
And something in addition regarding conflict of interests. So the standard says that people, staff that have previously, let's say, worked for an operator or have provided consultancy, when they are working in a body, they can review or anyhow do inspections towards that operator, but only after a minimum period that they have not been in contact with that operator anymore. So they need to be kind of clean for at least, here it says 2 years. So they shouldn't have any relationship for minimum 2 years. But some certification bodies also request 3 years. Okay. Then, liability and financing. This we have managed it already the first day, so it's very certification body has enough resources to manage his activities, to be able to certify the clients, and it's not compulsory, but if they don't have enough resources to demonstrate that they are able to do their activity, they need to have an insurance that covers their liability towards the clients. It's not compulsory to have an insurance, it's an option. If you don't have an insurance, you need to demonstrate through the financial records that you have enough resources. You need to be financially stable. Other general conditions, non-discriminatory conditions. So a certification body cannot discriminate their operators. They need to be treated all the same. And a certification has to provide his services to all the operators, provided they fall into the scope, of course. But they cannot say no, that operator, no, he's too small, he doesn't pay me enough. I just accept big operators. And discrimination is also inside the law, the organic law. So certification bodies, they cannot discriminate organic producers. Otherwise, they risk to be suspended or excluded by the authorized state body from the register. Of course, everything needs to be managed in a confidential way. So this is, let's say, data protection, information protection. So everything needs to stay confidential among the operators and the certification body. Of course, if the competent authority, the ministry, the authorized state body, the accreditation body, they have the right to ask all the documents. But anyhow, everything needs to stay confidential. And also, this provision is included in your law. The information should not be subject to disclosure. Then, the certification body, he needs to make some information publicly available. Publicly available, in most cases, the certification bodies put everything on the web page, so it's publicly available. But it's not compulsory. The important thing is that based on request, if an operator makes a request, the certification body provides those information. Okay, so among the information that they have to provide is how the operator can apply to the certification body, how the certification process works, because as Yelena said, the operator, he needs to know how it works, rights and duties of the operators, so it's, let's say, the contract, okay, and also information about the fees. So the fee of the certification body needs to be publicly available, because the operator, he needs to know. And he also needs to be able to select, I want to go to that certification body because it's cheaper than another one. Cheaper doesn't always mean better, but he needs to have those information. And also procedures to handle complaints and appeals. This we said it already in the first day. It's everything clear so far? Yes, I hope. So, next chapter is structural requirements. So, specific requirements for the structure of the certification body. So, in this chapter, we have organizational structure. So, of course, the certification body, he needs to have a structure. He needs to have an organizational chart. So, who does what? Roles and responsibilities, they need to be clear, declared and clear to everyone. And if there are some committees, for example, the appeal committee, the complaint committee, then also here clear rules for those committees, and the members, they cannot have any conflict of interest. Same things. Because the staff that does the review of the inspection and takes the certification decision needs to be different from the inspectors. The 4I principle.
So there are two key functions, right? The inspectors, this is one division of function, and then the technical review of the outcomes of the inspection, right?
Yes. And actually the technical reviewer can also take the decision. The same person.
And from your expertise, it could be one person, or it should be number of 3 people, so it could be one.
Can be also one person. But usually certification bodies, they have kind of a certification committee. So 2 or 3 persons. But that's a common practice, it's not compulsory. As you noticed, I do everything quickly, yeah, but the standard says much more, but I just focus on the key things.
Just the last point on the technical review. It could be done online, right? I mean, the technical reviewer is not mandatory to be present in the of activities, right?
Now everything is online.
Yeah.
I work for an accreditation body, and we are scattered all over the world. We don't have an office. I mean, yes, there is a legal entity, we register an office, but there's no one. We are just all over the world. Then, resources requirements. So personnel of the certification body, okay, when we talk about resources. So, general requirements. The lady asked, is there a minimum number of staff? ISO says sufficient number of personnel. Doesn't say minimum 2, 3, 10, nothing. And of course, staff has to be competent for the activity that they are carrying out. So the certifier who takes the decision for a company who is a processing company, the certifier needs to be competent regarding processing activity. So competence is, again, a key word. Okay? Information by all the staff, they have to keep everything confidential. We have said this. And it's the certification body that in his procedures, and also if there are requirements from the law and the regulation, he has to identify which are the competence criteria for the staff. For example, in Italy there is a specific ministry. The ministry has defined that in order to do inspections in organic, you need to be an agronomist, a vet, or someone who has studied biology. So it's defined what is needed to be an inspector, but not all over is like this. So if you don't have anything that defines this in Kyrgyzstan, then it's the certification body that has to set up the requirements. So the certification body might say, we only want agronomists, for example, that have at least 3 years of working experience in the field. Okay. They have, of course, to do trainings towards the staff, and they have to monitor the staff. The certification body has to verify how the staff is working, the performance of the staff. So they exams, they can accompany the inspectors to see how they work. So there are different methods. Because remember, it's always the certification body who is responsible of the competence of the staff. And the control body has to authorize the staff for the functions that they are doing. So you have to say, okay, you are an inspector, you are authorized as inspector because you fulfill all the criteria to be an inspector for crop production or livestock or whatever. Kyrgyz law mentions training to employees. That's a requirement for the control body. Okay? It's compulsory to train your staff. And you have to keep records of all your staff as a control body. And ISO lists all the information you have to keep for your staff. Okay? I don't enter into the details, but anyhow, everything is mentioned. And of course, with the staff, you need to have a contract that's compulsory, based on the law of the state. ISO doesn't say you have to work only with employees, or you have to work only with freelancers. It's totally up to the certification body. The important thing is that with your staff, you have a contract that lists several things. And one important thing is that the staff, the personnel, informs the control body about the conflicts of interests. That's an obligation of all the personnel. Because then if there are some conflicts, the certification body has to manage it. So the practice is always to ask every year to all the personnel to fill in the conflict of interest declaration. So here for this, I just want to tell you something about external resources. So control bodies, they can subcontract activities. And 99% of the activity subcontracted is activity, analysis of the samples taken by the control body. Because control bodies, unless they are the super huge ones, they don't have a laboratory. So that's why the testing activity, which we said the first step is an evaluation activity, is subcontracted to laboratories who need to be ISO 70025 accredited. It's a must. And you need to have a legally binding contract with those laboratories that also requests the lab to keep the information confidential. They cannot just spread the information to whomever they want. Everything is confidential. Then chapter 7 is about the requirements of the process of, let's say, the activity done by the control body, of the certification activity. So it follows different steps in quite a logical order. And so we go to the application. So application. The application is for the client that applies to the certification body for the service. This is general, and you have to consider that in addition to what is requested here, you have to consider what is requested by the Kyrgyz law and the Kyrgyz organic regulations. Of course, in the application, you need to declare all the general information of the operator and all the other information that are necessary for the certification body in order to carry out the activity. If the operator outsources some activities, this also needs to be declared. So it's the full scope. The Kyrgyz law also mentions this. Okay, so all the operators, they have to provide the documents necessary for certification. So this is related to the application. Once the control body has received the application, they have to review it. They have to check, is it complete, something is missing, do we have all the information that we need to carry out our activity? If something is missing, of course, you go back to the operator, you ask the additional missing information. We already mentioned it the first day. One thing to check is the scope okay? Can we accept it? Can we certify the scope of that operator, or is it out of the scope of the organic law? Do we have enough resources to manage this application? Now, I'm here in Kyrgyzstan, you speak all the same language, I mean Kyrgyz or Russian, but there are some other countries where there are other languages that not everyone is speaking. And so might be that they cannot accept this application because the operator speaks a different language from the one of the certification body and the inspectors. So that's the first key step. Once the application has been accepted, the certification body does the evaluation, so it's the inspection. And ISO says exactly, okay, what needs to be done. And during the inspection, the inspectors, they collect all the evidences, all the information that are then needed to take in order to take a decision. So if the operator complies, fulfills with the regulations. So that's the main goal. If during the inspection there are non-conformities, the operators, they need to be informed of the problem. Okay? And they also then are asked to solve the problem, to make a corrective action plan. And as I don't remember your name, he said before, all the documents of the evaluation, the next step is the review. So someone at the certification body office, which is different from who has carried out the inspection, has to be different, checks all the inspection report, okay, so that's the technical review, in order, next step, to take the decision. I mentioned clearly there that it's not allowed that the same person that carries out the evaluation, the inspection, does also the review. It's forbidden. Because it means that you don't act in an impartial way. Because you cannot check the work that you have done by yourself. If there's something wrong, you will never detect it because you have done it. I mean, it's very difficult. That's why the people need to be different, separated.
Вот здесь вот не совсем ясно. То есть один проводит проверку, другой проверяет результаты этой проверки, и оба они не могут быть комиссией, которая дает окончательное заключение о выдаче документов. Так или нет?
What's the final report?
The final report, final conclusion. Decision.
Okay. So, I move to the certification decision in order to see if I answer to your question. So, once the review has been done of the inspection activity to say, okay, it was done correct, or maybe it turns out that the inspector didn't do what he should have done. Okay, so if everything is fine, the inspector did his job, then the certification decision can be taken. Okay, do we certify the operator or we don't certify the operator? And ISO doesn't say that who takes the decision has to be a different person from who has done the technical review. Can be the same. So there are certification bodies that have inspectors and other people who are at the same time reviewers and certifiers. Other certification bodies have 3 levels: have inspectors, technical reviewers, and certifiers. Depends from the certification body. Of course, if you have 3 steps, it's more, let's say, difficult, but from one side, it guarantees a higher level of impartiality. You have 6I principle, not only 4I principle.
А вот скажите, пожалуйста, когда орган по сертификации проходит аккредитацию, вот эти моменты при аккредитации, они рассматриваются? То есть трехэтапный.
Yeah, it has to be checked. Yes, yes, yes. That's one of the things that are checked by the accreditation body. They check that the staff that has done the technical review and the certification decision is different from the staff that has done the inspection. Yes. I mean, if it turns out that it's the same, then it's a critical non-compliance.
И еще вопрос. Вот вчера, там, когда были, так сказать, операторы, говорилось насчет лабораторий. Первый день мы вообще тут с ума сходили с этими лабораториями. И вот получается, что орган по сертификации, он заключает договор с лабораториями, которыми, так сказать, он доверяет, которые аккредитованы по этим требованиям. Но в то же время тогда говорилось, что вроде бы оператор, он как первоначально может обратиться в лабораторию, определить, что у него там есть, чего нет. И вот когда PTS говорили, то тоже, что вроде бы проводились лабораторные исследования. Тогда в этом случае возникает, если уже в сертификационный орган обращается оператор, у которого есть данные лаборатории, и эта лаборатория аккредитована, орган по сертификации принимает эти данные, или он обязательно отправляет на исследование только в те лаборатории, с которыми у него заключен договор.
I try to answer to the question because it's a bit mixed. So, operators, they can do whatever they want. They can take samples and send them to the lab that they want, accredited, non-accredited. It's their activity. Okay? The certification body, he has to do his own activity, his own evaluation activity towards the operators based on the risk assessment. And if the risk assessment, let's say, tells to the CB that for that operator a sample is needed, then they take a sample and they have to send this sample to an accredited laboratory with whom the certification body has a contract. So if this, to make one step further, if this analysis turns out to be non-compliant, okay, so it detects that there are some not allowed products, and of course the control body has to inform the operator. And the operator says, no, but I have tested it, it's perfectly fine, it's okay. I mean, this doesn't count. It's an element, but it doesn't count in order to take a decision. It's only the activity done by the control body, by third party. Because of course the operator can do whatever he wants. In the worst case, those tests can be also falsified. We mentioned it the first day. Okay. So let's move. Once the certification decision has been taken, you need to issue, there is a certification document, which is the certificate. And I don't remember now if it's in the law or in the draft regulation, it's clearly mentioned all the elements that need to be in this certificate. ISO lists general topics, but then the law and the regulations, they might add additional information that need to be included in the certificate. So this is a formal document issued by the certification body. Of course, the law says that the CB has to issue the certificates. And next step, the control body, he has to have, let's say, a list of all the operators that are certified and certified products. This is an ISO requirement. Okay, so usually this list you can find it on the web page. Often on the web page there is a list with the certified operators, then you click and you also have the certificate. This is how it's usually done by the certification bodies. And of course also the law requests that the control bodies, they have a list of the certified operators. And this, the combined list of all the certified companies will be also on the ministry webpage. So this was, let's say, the end of the first big step. So the operator from the application to the certificate. The certificate here in Kyrgyzstan will last for 3 years. And during those 3 years of validity, the certification body has anyhow to do surveillance activity. It means to monitor what the operator does during those years, if he's still in compliance or not. And the way is the same. Inspection, if based on risk analysis, and technical review, and verify if the certification is maintained or not. And yeah, Kyrgyz law also says it, and actually the Kyrgyz law says that you have to do it annually. So annually, every operator needs to receive an on-site inspection. ISO also says that if the operators make changes, they have to inform the certification body, because based on the changes, the certification bodies, they have to do something. They have to assess those changes. But it says also that if something is changed from the certification body side, so if the certification body has a new certification procedures or changes something, the certification body has to inform the operators. So it's information in both ways. CBs towards operators, operators towards the certification bodies. Then, of course, I mean, during the evaluation activity, there might be non-conformities detected. So there is a specific point also about non-conformities that might lead also to suspension of the certification or to the withdrawal of the certification. And ISO here again stresses the fact that the staff, the persons who take decisions, if to suspend or to withdraw a certificate, they need to be competent. They need to have the knowledge. So again, competence. Yeah. Here this regulation law also mentions, okay, suspension of the certificate, withdrawal of the certificate, which of course happens if there are critical non-conformities. Here I skip this. Records. It's very important that the certification bodies, they keep records of all the activities that they do. So of the certification activities for the operators, they have to be kept for the current certification cycle and the previous one. So usually certification bodies, they keep the documents for 6 years or for 10 years, but just remember, don't throw it away. Because it might happen that in the future there might be a complaint, an investigation, so you need to have all the documents in order to proceed with your investigation. Because it might be that you have a complaint for a product that was certified 2 years ago. So you need to be able to go back. Complaints and appeals. So we saw it the first day. The certification bodies, they need to have procedures in order to manage complaints and appeals. So as we already mentioned it the first day, we were discussing what is a complaint, what is an appeal. I don't repeat it again unless there's a need to repeat it. And here is just to tell you which are the topics of chapter 8, but this then you can read by yourself because time is running by. And so everything refers to management system. The certification body, in order to be accredited, needs to implement a management system. And ISO tells exactly which are all the requirements for this. So it's not easy to prepare everything to apply for accreditation, but anyhow it's possible. Of course, everything is possible. So if you have questions about this, it was just like a marathon through ISO 2065, but anyhow, the slides, you have the complete ones, and maybe someone of you also has ISO 7065. I don't know.
Скажите, пожалуйста, когда орган по сертификации заключает договор...
Микрофон, пожалуйста. Переводчики не слышат, что переводчик микрофон.
Наоборот,
Все включено.
ага. Когда орган по сертификации заключает договор с оператором, вот стоимость вот этой сертификации, что тогда туда входит? Лабораторные анализы входят в стоимость вот этой сертификации или это отдельная оплата? И что вообще туда входит?
So there are no rules. So each certification body has his own fee structure. I have seen different structures. So they can ask like a fixed fee plus a fee for the inspection activity, a fee for the certification activity, additional fees in case they have to do an investigation, in case there is an appeal. Some certification bodies, they ask a fee based on the surface, on how big is the surface of the farm. So one just asks a normal inspection fee based on the time, for example. So it's totally different. Regarding the test done by the lab, also there I've seen fees where it's included already, or it's mentioned that in case of test, the exact fee charged by the lab to the certification body is then charged by the certification body to the operator. So if the analysis costs 100 to the certification body, exact 100 is asked to the operator. So it depends. But the important thing is that the fee is publicly available. How it's made up, it's usually on the web page. Or anyhow, it's a document that if the operator requests, the certification body has to send. There are certification bodies that ask a fee for each label that they approve. So it's really totally different around the world.
Ну вот в таком случае орган по сертификации на своем сайте размещает лаборатории какие и их практики или нет? Или это тоже не обязательно?
So ISO says that it's compulsory that the certification body informs the operator which are the laboratories that the certification body is using, because the operator needs to be aware in order to contest. Because it could be that the operator had some problems with a lab, or might be that the lab is run by the wife of the operator. So, I mean, he needs to be able to say, no, I don't want that the sample that you have taken goes to that lab. So the operator needs to be informed which are the labs used by the control body. This is an ISO 70065 requirement. And of course, if the operator asks how much does this analysis cost, the certification body has to provide the information.
Саманта, очень такая обширная информация. Получается, очень серьезные документы надо готовить. И очень серьезно к этому подходить. Я хотела бы Гульсаду и консультант Байке прокомментировать биологии. На ваш взгляд, перечень всех этих документов, всех этих требований, да, они нашим условиям процедуры вот этой выполнимы, и сколько времени потребуется для этого? Спасибо.
Спасибо, Дина. Это хороший вопрос. Речь идет об аккредитации сертификационных органов. И сколько времени займет, я не могу сказать, но есть практика, да, наши коллеги из Казахстана, они тоже вот формировались как сертификационный орган. Они сказали, это 1,5 года усиленной работы, это и временные ресурсы, и финансовые затраты, то есть и включая поддержку консультантов, да, и экспертов. Я надеюсь, я ответила на ваш вопрос.
Да.
Если нет, да, я слушаю.
Очень хорошо ответили.
получается, в условиях Кыргызстана,
Возможно,
для
не
того,
больше
что-
времени.
да, и дольше времени, и мне думается, вот, что несколько вот этих компаний, они как бы должны, оказывается, объединяться, и что-то должно, хоть одна компания должна быть, кстати, аккредитацию, да, это в целях интересов операторов. То есть, мне кажется, сейчас одна компания не потянет эти документы, эти требования. Спасибо.
Я могу дополнить.
Да.
Во-первых, Саманта, спасибо за вашу презентацию. Вы дали почти анатомическую детализацию нормативных документов. В целом мы были знакомы с этими документами. И, значит, какой вывод? На самом деле все логично, все в рамках здравого смысла. Сама система сертификации явилась реакцией на возросшие риски экологические, климатические и, значит, монетизационные. Риски доверия, это все вынуждено ввести такую систему проверки. Что касается применимости этой системы сертификации к условиям Кыргызстана, вот мы системно пытаемся продвигать с 2010 года в тесном партнерстве с биосервисом систему сертификации, но тут у нас, к сожалению, особых результатов мы не добились за 15 лет. Мы пытались сделать это в рамках, значит, системы PGS, как более упрощенной доступной системы. Одна из целей сертификата – это структурирование, упорядочение самого производства. К сожалению, Кыргызстан до сих пор находится в стадии дикого рынка. И еще один самый большой вопрос, проблема препятствия. Сертификат становится актуальным только тогда, когда появляется устойчивый сбыт. Нет сбыта продукции, сертификат не представляет ценности как сопроводительный, значит, документ и сопроводительный этап, потому что, зачем мне сертифицировать, если я не могу продать продукцию? Вот это системная проблема нашего аграрного сектора. В советское время агросектор давал 65% валового внутреннего продукта. Сейчас он дает всего лишь 9%, к сожалению. Хотя площади остались те же, ресурсы остались те же. К сожалению, это является следствием того, что на официальном уровне не было уделено должного внимания этому основному стратегическому потенциалу страны. И в этом плане, федерация, в частности, Organic Holding, сейчас мы занимаемся разработкой концепции системы сертификационного сопровождения продукции в рамках активизации цепочки добавленной стоимости. То есть для нас это тоже актуально. Если мы говорим сейчас с точки зрения европейских международных требований, к сожалению, у нас доступ ограничен к активному участию в экспортных взаимосвязях. Почему? Нет объема, раз. Во-вторых, нет паспорта. Что касается объема, тут нужна кооперация. Без кооперации мы никогда не получим объем. То есть мы должны создать гумусный слой, на котором потом будет расти наше органическое производство. К сожалению, этот гумусный слой отсутствует на сегодняшний момент. Поэтому мы разрабатываем комплексную программу, которая будет формировать, во-первых, кооперацию, во-вторых, пока еще, можно это строго говорить, вот у нас сейчас сертификация была, есть, но она в рамках только международных проектов. Потому что, никакой фермер не потянет эти расходы, это раз. Во-вторых, никакой фермер не будет заниматься, вкладываться в это, если у него нет гарантированного устойчивого сбыта. То есть на самом деле системная проблема, она еще системно не решается, слава богу, создан ДОСХ. Сейчас тоже мы очень долго убеждали, что нам нужно актуализировать в формате официальной структуры. Мы с ДОСХ активно сотрудничаем. И здесь, во-первых, мы сейчас реализуем программу кооперации, она тоже у нас не идет, к сожалению, у нас 370 тысяч частных фермеров. У нас есть объемы, но они все рассыпаны. Поэтому кооперация должна, во-первых, надо решить вопрос кооперации, во-вторых, надо решить проблему логистического сопровождения. Вот у нас есть несколько крупных логистических центров. Они стоят пустые, потому что они оторваны от реальных производителей органической продукции, а это мелкие фермеры, и они находятся на периферии. Поэтому мы ставим вопрос создания мини-логистических центров. Потом, конечно, это идет информационная, просветительная работа. И, значит, мы сейчас разрабатываем систему сертификационного сопровождения. Вот видите, здесь требования, я не знал, вот Саманта сказала, что, во-первых, чтобы мы пройти аккредитацию, сертификационный орган должен иметь реально действующий договор. Ни у кого у нас нет и не может быть договора, пока фермер не будет заинтересован. Это раз. Во-вторых, договор должен быть не формальным, а реализуемым. И, значит, второе, финансовое обеспечение там должно быть. Вот сертификационная организация должна иметь свой бюджет, ну, какую-то финансовую подушку, ресурс финансовый. У нас это невозможно, потому что нет заказов. То есть эти услуги не востребованы. То есть мы имеем сейчас де-факто комплексную проблему. Вот сейчас, значит, без активного участия, значит, официальных структур решить эти проблемы невозможно. Мы вот 3 созыва парламента убеждали парламент, что это наш стратегический вектор. И в итоге вот в 2019 году тот прежний парламент принял постановление, что в 2030 году, да, это наш стратегический вектор, весь Кыргызстан в 2030 году должен быть органическим. К сожалению, новый состав парламента просто дезавуировал это постановление почему-то. Поэтому, видите, вот такая вязкая ситуация, которую надо решать. И потом еще, если мы параллельно пытаемся решить это, кстати, наша система сертификационного сопровождения включает, должна быть доступной, должна быть понятной, должна обеспечивать объективный качественный уровень. Вот. Ну, у нас, вот мы анализируем все системы сертификации, то есть наша система сертификационного сопровождения должна, во-первых, сочетать и систему односторонней сертификации, и двухсторонней, и трехсторонней. То есть это должна быть новая комплексная модель. И, значит, вопрос очень важный, это финансирование, оплата сертификационных услуг. Мы видим, что в реальной плоскости она должна быть и заработает, когда будет привязана, значит, к итогам реализации. Человек получил сертификат, реализовал, и процент потом он может возместить. Другого варианта у нас нет. Государство не финансирует. Донорские возможности, сейчас мы видим, глобально они очень сильно изменились. Поэтому фермер получает сертификационное сопровождение, реализует продукцию, то есть ЦДС надо запустить, и потом процент дает. Вот такая система, скорее всего, будет реальная для наших условий. Может быть, наш этот опыт будет интересен ФАО, как глобальному регулятору органического производства. И еще, значит, тут параллельно еще один очень важный момент, который становится актуальным с каждым годом. Это мы сейчас разрабатываем концепцию разработки стандартов нового поколения. Потому что сейчас технологии, существующие стандарты, о которых прописаны все ИСО, включая кодекс Алиментариус, они давности. Это биологические, физические, химические показатели. Сейчас технологии год от года увеличиваются синтезируемых продуктов. Синтезируется молоко, молочка, синтезируется мясо, искусственные яйца, рис и так далее. Мед синтезируется. Такая острая потребность разработки стандартов времени. Поэтому вот мы пытаемся сейчас вот решить это все, значит, в одном, значит, блоке, и будем сотрудничество с ФАО. Нам поможет как-то прийти к какому-то более быстрому, более реализуемому варианту решения этих проблем. Спасибо за внимание. Так, примерно более-менее понятно, да?
Just clarify something, so thanks, Sultan. I don't have the magic stick to solve all the problems, but I think you are on the right track, step by step.